Hey guys, Matthew, and welcome to the third episode of this Hideout to Headhunter series. So today I'll basically be talking about what I did yesterday during the stream, the things that I crafted, how much they sold for, how much I'm expecting certain things to sell for, what was a flop, what was good, and so on. So right now, conservatively, I'm probably around, let's say, 50, 75, 80, 130 to 135x or so. So basically just about done with the entirety of the series. Going to be crafting a few other items today, and that should be it. So far I've spent about 20 hours, which means if we're looking at 20 hours, 140x or so, it means that on average we've been making about 7x an hour through this journey, which is pretty good. It just goes to show that crafting is still absolutely king. All right, and flipping, of course, right? Because the first day I really didn't craft anything because I was too poor. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about the items that I crafted and what I did. So you'll see that I have, as a suffix on this item, I have attacks have critical strike chance, and it is elevated. So the first thing I did yesterday is I actually elevated 4 of these chest pieces. So basically what I did is I used a hunter chest piece, and I use a serrated and a pristine fossil, and I just use those, which by the way would be this fossil over here and this fossil over there, right? These two in a 2-socket resonator until I would get attack crit as T1 and any other modifier that was influenced from the hunter, and then I would Maven orb. So I did 8 attempts, I succeeded 4, which is 50%, which is the exact average. It actually started off extremely bad. In my first 4, I believe I hit 1 out of 4. And then like 2 out of 6, so that was like, oh my god, like I'm getting pretty unlucky here. But then the last 2 I actually hit in a row, so at that point we were pretty much good to go. Now the thing is, at that point, once I was done with that, I had 0 currency left. I was so tunnel visioned on these stupid Mavens orbing because I kept failing them, right, that I was just really tilted. So I had no money left. So what I had to do is I had to go back to actually prophecy farming for a little bit. But as I was prophecy farming, someone messaged me to buy me the this chest piece over here, which we crafted at the beginning of the stream. So what this chest piece is essentially a heist base of Val Regalia. It was item level 84, and I bought this for 9 chaos. The item level 84 Val Regalia with the defense modifier, which is incredibly cheap. But what I did is I basically spammed 1-socket dense fossils, and then I hit this energy shield here, T4, T2, and T2 on the 2 important ones, and T4 on the, I guess, less important one. And I was like, you know, it's not great. I kind of want to roll over that. But the thing is, it came with T2 fire resistance, which is very good, because this can be changed with harvest to, like, you know, cold or lightning res or whatever the person needs. So I was like, I'll gamble it then. So I went ahead and smacked it with a Hunter Exalted Orb. There's quite a few things that it could have been that would have been good. You know, effective offerings would have been okay. Attack crit, obviously good. And spell crit, also good. So there's more than about a 50% chance that you hit something pretty decent with a Hunter Exalt. And I hit T1 attack crit. So I crafted int in quality, and I put this chest up for 25 exalts, which was actually severely underpriced. It was worth more than 30 exalts if I was to compare it with the other chest pieces that were similar with resistance. And it sold within like 2 or 3 hours as I was farming my prophecies. So at that point I had money again. So now that I had money again, I went ahead and finished one of these chest pieces. So my elevated attack crit that I was talking about, right? So I grabbed another chest with Warlord influence, got socketed attacks -15 with serrated fossils again, and then I Awakener Orb the 2 for socketed attacks, and attacks have crits. So what happened is, on the first attempt that I did, if I remember correctly, I actually got a chest that looked kind of like this, where I got some resistance and I got really high life. So instead of going for the additional curse as a prefix, I decided to just put it up for sale. Now mine was actually worse than that. Not significantly worse, but it was a little bit worse than that. It had a lot more armor though. But I sold mine for 35 exalts. So as you can see, there's this one for 28, but then it jumps all the way up to 40, and this one's been up for an hour, and this one 33 minutes. So this is severely underpriced. I actually thought about buying it to flip it, but I decided not to because I'm so close to just being done with the challenge anyways. But yeah, I sold it for 35x, and it looked pretty much like this with crafted mana and life. And the reason for that is some people don't actually care about the additional curse, especially melee builds. There's not that much, you know, usefulness to get out of it, depending on your build, of course. So getting more life and the percent life and a ton of armor, mine had like a ton of armor, was actually, I guess, worthwhile for somebody else. But yeah, this one's too cheap. This one's probably pretty good. Mine was actually not elevated on the mana cost, but looking back, probably should have went with elevated on all of my crafts, but they've been selling pretty well without being elevated, so I decided not to. Okay, now after that, I had quite a bit of money. Or sorry, I had a pretty decent amount of money, but of course that chest wasn't sold yet, right? It wasn't sold, so I basically had to just wait on it, but I had still some leftover from 25x, so I made another one, right, which would be this one, and this one went okay. I actually got attacks crit and socketed attacks, but I had an open suffix, so what I did is I beast crafted it because it was cheaper than any other option, and unfortunately I got stun and block recovery from my Ferric Lynx Alpha. It was way cheaper than, instead of slamming it for 1x, it was like 20c investment. So that was kind of sad. I was like, whatever, like the last suffix is not a big deal. So I went ahead and did the thing where you lock your suffixes, Reforge plus Caster. That's going to guarantee a curse, and then I unveiled. And I was hoping for percent life, but unfortunately I didn't get it. I actually did not get it. I got hybrid life, which is pretty bad. So this one is actually, it's not quite a loss of currency. It's still a profit if it's sold at 24x, but I have a feeling it won't sell. I'm probably going to have to recraft it. Now, the only problem is the suffix is really bad, so recrafting it on such a horrible suffix, I don't think I'm going to do that. I think instead I'm just going to put it up at like 22x or something, sell it at the price that it cost me to make it, and then just forget about it. Of course, if it's sold for 24x, which is actually a pretty decent price considering just how much, how expensive attacks have crit chance is, I'd be okay with that. But time will tell whether it will sell or not. All right, now after that, I had a little bit leftover currency, but not too much, so I decided to craft an assassin's garb. The assassin's garb that I crafted was this one. So what I did is essentially I got power charge on crit. This, by the way, is for elemental hits, and attacks have critical strike chance, and I awakener orbed it, and I actually got T1 fire resistance, which is massive. I basically went ahead and crafted it up. So I did, you know, suffix snap change, reforged caster for the initial curse. I unveiled it, but unfortunately my unveil hit hybrid life again. So I got really unlucky with my unveil yesterday. So I decided to just craft on life and sell it. As you can see, it's being sold for 80x, but this has essentially been redone. So this guy, Golden Ducky, actually bought it from me for 50x with just the suffixes essentially and the bad unveiled prefix, right? So he bought it for 50x, and what he did is basically he redid the prefixes, so he reforced on the additional curse, and then he unveiled it, and he got spell dodge, which is pretty much the best, I would say, or at least on par with percent life and mana. So he was able to just craft on life. Obviously, he also divined it to very, very well. I think it's perfectly divined across the board. And then he's selling it for 80x now. So he made a pretty big profit, but I made 50x from basically an Awakener's Orb. So I made over 25-ish, 30x profit on this chest piece when I sold it, which allowed me to craft another one. And I did the exact same thing. This time around, though, I got T7 on the cold res, which was pretty bad. But when I unveiled, I once again did not get hybrid life. I actually got chance to avoid ailments, which was just so sad. But there it is. It's up for about 25x, so it's still profitable, just kind of like this one, not big profit at all, kind of just a couple x, a few x maybe. But that's the idea, is that you're not always going to make big profit when crafting, but you're going to, you should never lose money. That's all that matters. If you're not losing currency, then technically it's okay. Anyways, so that's kind of what happened. And then this bad boy here was actually a complete accident. I was looking at something while working on something else completely, and I was looking at what's the price of ES on Block Shield with as much ES as possible, because I was wanting to see if I wanted to craft one, essentially, right? And then I saw this one, which would triple T1 ES prefixes alongside Recover ES, but I saw that it also had double damage with an open suffix, and it was being sold for 18 Exalt. And this is the highest shield in the entire league, in terms of energy shield, with ES on block and double damage. The highest one. Now, of course, this does not have, you know, socketed gems mana reserved. It doesn't have, you know, non-curse or effect from your skills. So it's a pretty basic ES on block shield, but it's literally one-off perfect or something. Yeah, it's one-off perfect on the Divine. The suffixes are insane. It's got 460 energy shield. I saw it for 18x. I was like, damn, I gotta buy this. This is way too cheap. So I bought it, and I'm selling it for about 28. I'm expecting it to sell for about 25. So that would be about 8x profit, or sorry, 7x profit on this shield. So that's pretty much how I went from my 60-ish Exalt yesterday to about 140 through mostly crafting that one accidental flip. Otherwise, we really haven't been doing too much else. I did a little bit of essence flipping, so if you don't know what that is, essentially it's bulking up. So buying essences, like for example, Deafening Essence of Contempt, one at a time for the cheapest price, which is like 7-8 chaos or whatever, and then reselling them in big bulk, like 40-50 plus, for, you know, nearly twice that amount, because crafters don't want to have to deal with buying them one at a time. They rather pay more but just get all of them on the on the go, so they can basically craft more, because the more you craft, the more money you make. This series is basically you know, a testament to that. But essentially, that's pretty much everything that was done in yesterday's stream over the course of a 7-hour stream. It wasn't too bad, and I'm expecting this whole challenge to be done today, because I'm only off like 20x. So even if I was to just farm prophecies, we should be able to finish that up. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the update. Before I go, though, I want to say a massive thank you to my supporters: Flame Scorpion, Richard, Willie, Alex, Jordan, Emil, Raymond, Tim, Scott, Lots with the Mac, Moore, Nathaniel, Kremis, Justin, Kevin, the other Justins, Sonis, Axel, Mercury, and Bizen, as well as a massive thank you to everybody listed here down below. Anybody else who has supported me in the past, or anybody else who wishes to remain anonymous. On that note, that'll be Matthew signing out. Until the next one. Peace.